Hi, I am Mary Mazur. Today we are talking about, do you shut down and go numb when things get hard? That's the topic for today. Oh, we're going to be exploring this, and we have Ginger Clark here, which is awesome. I love Ginger. She loves to offer her amazing gifts in the healing arts. She's a guide, a medium, and a channel. She's done amazing other things in her life too, but this is where her spirit's bringing her to be with now. So yes, we are going to be, I know, talking a lot about this thing, because do you shut down and go numb? I know I certainly did. That was my coping skill. That's how I survived. I had to. I literally had. I felt like I had to, and I did. And then the gift is I know with the work that you and I do, and then how we continue to grow and expand, that we're willing to say, hey, do I really need to shut down and go numb? No, I don't. I don't. I can actually, instead of shutting down, I can expand and open up, open my heart, take off the armor. There's all kinds of pieces here, and then actually feel totally. So this is what we're going to help people land into, and to be okay with whatever you are doing, because right, we just worked with somebody today that, yeah, she had a huge armor on. She literally has to have one still right now in her life, and then she'll be smart when she can, start taking that armor off and do that. So yeah, so Ginger, I know, would you like to share just a little bit about what this topic brings for you? And then we're going to be dancing here and helping to, we pretty much, when we get together, we tend to, activate each other, activate others. And then we love, I know, whatever's coming in is what's supposed to come in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. So for me, I also have had many experiences with shutting down, just feeling any sort of uncomfortable feelings in situations, be it having a conversation with your boss. I think we all can relate with that. Oh, that feeling of being called to the principal's office, right?
Mm.
And, oh God, I'm in
Yeah.
trouble. What's
Ooh.
going on? And then we shut down on the outside and instantly go into our mind, and we start asking questions and into the logic part of our brain, instead of moving into our heart to actually feel what we need to do to move forward, feel into a response. We go into our mind and we get lost into that agitation, frustration, irritation, and feel lost. And we just, that all equals to that shutdown.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Because actually, even while you're talking, what's coming up for me, this is what happens to me and you too, is that the shutdown, like for me, it began like as a little child when I got spanked. I mean, when you get sent to your room and my dad pulled on your pants. What is that about? I don't get that one either. You pull down your pants. This is a very vulnerable part of you too, especially being a little girl, and then getting spanked on your butt for something, right?
And who's around, and who is seeing that, and then who is seeing that part of your body exposed. And so as children, the only thing that we can do is hide in that, in that moment. And you want to hide because that is what it is safe to do. And we're going to move into a space of safety, and it felt safe to shut down. What else could we do then? But as adults, we do have choices, and we can work through those feelings of hiding and shutting down and become more vulnerable and open, and remind ourselves that it is safe to actually step into expansion. Right.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. Thank you for that.
And then have different options.
Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah. And so we're talking to people that pretty are adults here. This is an adult talk. And I think the gift is, at least what I noticed, as far as the parts of me that did shut down and I did go numb, right? They want to be invited back in, is what the big part is.
And that's the offering.
That's the offering. Yeah. And we are spiritual beings. A lot of us even cut that off, or some people don't even think they're spiritual beings yet. So that's something definitely we recommend to explore. And we help people with that too. But and I think a way to even handle that is you can even say, okay, well, you came here as a newborn baby, right? One, how did that happen? Okay, because that's a miracle in itself.
Right.
Two people coming together and cells coming together, then all of a sudden a brand new human being with its own consciousness, its own ways, its own unique personalities, ways, all that stuff. Yeah. Would you might guess that there might be more things going on here than what we can imagine?
Absolutely. And more choices.
Yes.
Because when we are connected with our spiritual hearts, we do know that we have a choice, and we chose to come to this planet. Yes. And we chose our parents, and we chose to be here to learn whatever lessons that we needed to learn for our greater good and the greater good of the collective.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a big leap, actually, because I think, and thank goodness, I'm glad you're bringing it up, because and sometimes we can even just say, if you can just imagine that you might have chosen all of this. Okay. It's kind of a softer, nicer way to say it.
It is. And at the same time, I find so much freedom in having that choice, because it takes me out of the energetics of the victimhood. I think we're all guilty of saying, I did not sign up for this shit, right? Like, no. Right. But in fact, yes, you did. Yeah, I did. We did. We signed up for this.
Yeah, totally. And that's actually the part that you can step into your personal power with.
Yes.
Is when you actually say, okay, all right, I admit it. I did it. This is a huge one.
I chose these
things. I chose it. Just call them a theme. I love how you love to bring that in. If you can just imagine, they're just themes. They're just patterns. They're just themes. And a lot of us agreed to be married into our parents' lineages, to clear these lineages in this lifetime. We're doing this now, guys. Yes, we are. Believe it or not, we volunteer for this. Because we all chose to live in this massively changing time.
In a time of awakening.
So
radical.
It is radical. And as hard as it might be for some people, and crazy and nuts and scary and yada, 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 those things too. If you can just remind yourself, we chose this, and it is getting better. It's if we choose it. And that's all about the choice. Would you like to expand? Would you like to let go of victim energy, or thinking everything is happening to me, and instead switch it, say everything is happening here for me,
and step into that empowerment? And that circles back to the beginning of the conversation about moving out of that headspace into your heart. And when you move into that heart, you can just take a breath and feel yourself expand. Right. And then go, oh, okay, well, if I can imagine choosing this, what are the themes that I have that are showing up in my life? Themes of abandonment, themes of betrayal. And how could that serve me? How could I even imagine the ways in which that serves me? And that's just a huge step, again, into, I don't have to go into that hiding, because I chose this. So if I chose this, I can just take a little baby step out of the hiding and go and into empowerment, into expansion. And in that place, all the ideas are going to drop into your new way of being and how you want to operate from that space. Again, stepping away from the contraction of hiding, going numb, and into the fight, flight, freeze, mind spinning, racing, logical part of the brain.
Right. Yeah. So this talk is for those that are ready for the changes, because that's who we help. Those that are ready for the changes.
You got to be ready.
You got to be
ready for the change.
You got to be ready, because it is going to show up for you. And then we've talked about too, there's people we know that we've given them plenty of opportunities of beautiful things. And if they're not willing to step into the new change, to let go of shutting down and going numb, and actually begin to step into their personal power and realize, yes, this is here for me. So if it's here for me, how about I turn it for good?
And it's an opportunity.
Exactly.
I think that's a huge thing too.
Yes.
Giving yourself, giving other people an opportunity to step forward. We all have an opportunity to step forward. And that's what you're speaking of.
Yes, exactly. So I know the theme that I agreed to sign up for in this one.
Yeah. I love how you raise your hand.
I know, because I do. Yes, I did here.
That's me.
Woo!
Talking about the principal's office, right? In class. That's me. I chose this theme.
Yeah, exactly. And because it is kind of cool, and you can play with yourself with it. I love to play. And just, if you can just lighten up a little, allow yourself to
take that personal aspect out of it. Okay, so what would be, again, from that childlike enthusiasm, again, going back to the heart, right? Okay, so what are these things? It doesn't have to be all woeful and heavy and yuck. No. Okay, I chose this. So what's next?
And what I love to offer is, instead of going to, what's all the crappy stuff I decided to go experience here, which a lot of us will usually probably go to first because that gets your biggest attention. Instead, offer yourself what might be the 1, 2, or 3 themes that you would love to master in this lifetime. What would you love to challenge yourself with a bit? Give a little bit of that contrast and that hardship, right? And with that, when you do decide to wake up and connect into your heart again and define what your heart's desires, and then change it, switch it into what you do want, what is that? Because that is actually what's going to drive you in your whole life once you can actually access that. And that's actually the retreats I'm offering, the retreats that I'm offering with some others is what we're going to be diving into with that. So we'll talk about that at the end of the workshop. Is authentic circles is exactly what we're diving into heavily with that. And I will help bring into that too. But for now, even just land into one. If it could be one thing.
So, for example, what is a theme that someone could dive into?
Exactly. So, for my own is relationships and with an intimate partner. That is, it is my theme. It's what what gets my biggest attention. Chose to work with, work with, and work on. I love relationships as far as an intimate partner relationship. So that for me is my mastery would be. This is what my dream and my mastery of what I would love to envision, going through all the junk, the struggle in order to get to the victory. But at the other end of it is knowing exactly that, one, my relationship with myself is whole. So my masculine and feminine with me is completely whole. It starts with self. Yeah. Yes, that I love myself and all parts of me. So I'm still working with that one because there are still parts of me that I put away and I don't want to touch. I shut down. I went numb to. Those parts that I have shut down and went numb to are those aspects of me. My mastery is to rectify all parts of me, come back to my wholeness, and remember that I am love and light. So my ultimate relationship is my relationship with my remembrance of being a divine light and love here, choosing experience in the human way. And then because I do love that this universe does dance with the masculine and the feminine, and you can have like a masculine outside of you in this world, that how about this? How about I'm in my wholeness, he's in his wholeness, and then we get to dance and play and respect and honor our differences and also enhance and glorify. So
it's a partnership.
More of a partnership. Yes, I would say even from a relationship is I would love to dive into relationships, and with that create a divine sacred partnership with another that who also wants to create a divine sacred partnership. And I know I have to do it within myself first before I go meet that partner.
So because they're not completing me. Right. So opposed to what we have been taught.
Right.
Movies, media, we all know that famous line, right? It's more about the relationship that you have with yourself and completing yourself and honoring your sacred self. Is that?
Yes, exactly. And by my own, and it really, at the ultimate is my own my feminine and masculine within myself that becomes whole again.
And that balance.
And the balance. And because we're in the Aquarian age, having my feminine lead, and I'm a woman, so I definitely want my feminine to lead. Definitely.
And what does that mean to have feminine lead?
Thank you.
Yeah, clear that up.
Right. Yeah. So to have feminine lead means I lead from my heart. And I lead and I check in with what feels right for me. And that's my go-to.
And what are feminine aspects?
Yes, thank you.
What does it mean to be led from the heart? Like, what does that look like? How does that show up?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, our feminine dance here is one, we are open at the highest divine level. A feminine energy is basically like the wholeness. Like you can see wholeness, a circle. It's always connected with our own selves and with others. So it loves connection. It doesn't like separation.
Okay.
So the opposite would be separation or isolation. The true feminine is one that brings back wholeness again.
So that's where we get the idea of that nurturing of the feminine and just bringing
the love. It's like the arms. Our arms share a lot of the feminine. Our arms are more the feminine. Our legs are more the masculine. So it's this loving and touching, right? And yeah, exactly. It's embracing, nurturing, and nourishing, connecting, synergizing. You bring two separate things, you put them together, and it becomes even bigger and more expansive. So it's plain, and it's visual. It's our feminine is more visual instead of auditory.
Okay.
It doesn't use words. It doesn't need to use words. Our feminine is in the feeling. It's the sensory. It's how does it feel? How does it feel? And we can be at the extreme. There's always extremes of stuff. So the feminine balance is the key. Is to have your balance of your feminine within you. Which means if you go to the extreme of a feminine, they can become chaotic. It can become
more of those archetypes
here. Okay. Right. If you're too feminine or too much, because we do have a masculine support system that we're meant to have with us, especially the women.
So we are talking about a balance in the feminine energy, a balance in the masculine energy, and then a balance together. Of it being together. And we all have masculine and feminine inside of us. So finding that balance within ourselves and another that is also balanced, right?
Yes.
Because that's the meeting point, if you will, right? Exactly. And the balance of one another.
Yes,
I know. There's a lot of balance.
All right. Yes. Okay. Yes, and we're gonna keep going till 3:30, and then we'll take a break at 3:30 because we were really getting rolling, and we'll have to check on that one. Good. Yes. So thank you for this because and we will be talking about the masculine too, but we're going to focus on the feminine because we actually are meant to be focused on the feminine now, being that we're in the Aquarian age. The masculine has, so why we shut down, first of all, we'll swing back, why we shut down for the, and went numb. One was to protect ourselves.
How did that serve us?
Let's start
there. Yeah. How would it serve me? Mm-hmm. If I am getting called to the principal's office, for example, let's go back to that. Mm-hmm. How does it serve me to just shut down? And I just kind of see this right?
Sure.
Just
right. Well, think about it. I know for me as a kid, when I cried, what did my parents say?
I'll give you something to cry about, right?
You cry, I'll give you something to cry about. Suck that up, kid. Shut that down, right? Or we're expressing all of our emotions and we're like, we get shut down. We get shut down from our anger, from our sadness or sorrow, any of our parents didn't know any better. They came from a society that also they also went shut down and numb too. Mm-hmm. A lot of them did to some level, but it was just a reactive response based on fear. But if you can see at the stream, if you're in war or you're in a very danger zone, you can't be showing those emotions.
Absolutely.
You're looking to see how you're going to survive. You're looking you're hyper vigilant. You got to figure out the gateway to get out. You're going to be like, you don't have time to be sitting down, checking in how you're feeling and crying. Right? No, not at all.
Or when you're plowing fields.
Right. Or plowing fields, giving food, or you got to feed your family and you're getting, then you're working. And so that was all like the masculine came into work. Those generations. Now that we're in the generation and the time period of the expansion, Aquarian age is the expansion age. This next 1,000 years is the 1,000 years of peace and harmony and flow. With that means that the feminine comes in, and that's what we're doing, is the feminine energy in men and women to bring in the balance. The feminine actually is the one that's going to bring the balance in because they're the one that's going to connect everything. Okay. The masculine's role is to focus and take action. Okay. And get connected with the physical. It's the physical stuff. That's why a lot of, especially men, love to build things, love to create things in their physical hands of building things. Where the feminine can be more like the idea person and like, let's have great ideas and let's bring this idea and this idea and this idea.
And we can change our minds.
And we can change our minds all the time. And we do.
Let's go over here.
Yeah. We'll tell one story and then go on to another story, and then we'll gather, and then we'll connect all the stories together. Yes. And the men will be like, what the heck just happened there?
Right.
For a man, they're pretty straight to the point. And this is just our archetypes. We can have a whole mix of stuff, but for men, and
just keeping it general.
Keeping it general. And for a woman, it's great to talk with a man to help yourself hone down. That's the balance. Like instead of going woo all over the place, you can still be very feminine and be in the balance where you can bring it down to just 1 to 3 things. Like just hone in and stay in one topic. It's really helpful if you're with a man to do that. And I've learned how to do that because I had 7 brothers. They helped me a lot to do that.
Yes.
Because but when women get together, we can talk about 5 or 6 different things all the time, and we can all lace it and grow. And many women, we can kind of play with a gatherer. So we're going to go out and gather and check and check that.
And then we must land the plane.
Right. We got to land the plane. Right. Yeah, exactly. So
what is the point?
Right. So, and even with all of us, with what we're doing here, like, okay, so where are we now? Well, because we're learning how to step out of shutting down and numbing ourselves. In order to do that, it's important that we balance our masculine and feminine. That's actually what the whole message is. Within our own selves. We are masculine and feminine within ourselves. Okay. And give your more attention to your feminine right now, even for the men. The men, yes, you can too, but we all are being called to start becoming more whole. And we learned how to be very independent. That was the masculine patriarch. Go get your own separate houses and your own, you pull up into the a lot of people's homes, you'll pull up into their garage, shut the garage, and you go right into the house. So you're not even interacting with your neighbors, And
in that community.
In communities, a lot of communities, a lot of the suburbs and
so
stuff.
Community is also a feminine energy.
Community is feminine. Bringing people together. It's more group. A feminine energy is a group energy. A masculine energy is an individual energy. So masculine is individual. The feminine is group. Wow. And we have both within us. There is a time for us to be by ourselves. That's the balance. Have your own time and also have time in groups. The gift is you get to do both here now when you are in balance. And then you won't have to shut down anymore either or go numb. Because actually when you do balance your masculine and feminine within you, because what happened is we hit our feminine is what happened. So our masculine's been running, most of us, men and women. Okay. The masculine's been the one that's been the okay, and then the feminine's kind of been hiding. She'd peek out once in a while, come back. Well, and so that's shutting down and numbing, especially when things get hard or get scary. How about step into your power?
So we're just going to hide that softness when things get scary for us.
Yeah, some people do, but we don't have to hide it anymore. You're actually going to let it present itself. Come right next to the masculine. So the feminine can come right next to the masculine and then start to feel again, start to go into your heart again, start to be in your body. What is your body telling you? What is your intuition? Your feminine is your intuition, your divine intelligence connection. Okay. Your masculine is more the physical connection that's meant to help us physically on this world. Both are very important because we're human beings. We need both. The man has the masculine feminine in them, so they can have the direct, feminine intuitive when their feminine is balanced within them, and help them with their choice making and decision making about how it feels. And the masculine can go have that individual time and the more focus and action steps to take those steps. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get to do both of these. And with that, because the game changer is, first of all, considering admitting, that's the first step, is admitting, or am I shutting down and going and
recognizing that awareness.
It's the awareness is the first step.
Yes.
And if you can admit, yes, okay, I might be shutting down a little bit. And there are times, and it's actually like on a spectrum. So it's not one, this or this. It's like, how much are you shutting down? It could be, and you could give it a percentage.
First thing, recognizing that you are shutting down.
Right.
How much am I shutting down?
Right.
And then what's our next step?
Well, exactly. And are you willing to let yourself feel? Are you willing? Are you ready and willing to make the change? That's the key. Do you have the courage? Right. You have to have the courage to make the change. One is also finding tools like we do. We have tools like Psyche and breath work, and we're doing your Sacred Way is going to be a new one coming out. But people have found their tools. There are gateways that can help you. The funny thing is, even with gateways, is you have the answers within you. So even, yes, it is great to get some of those supports. And
again, going back to the heart. The answers are
in
there.
The heart. You actually have the answer within you. I know. And then there are people, like if you want to connect with Ginger and I or others that can help guide you, because we love being guides for people, because we've done it for ourselves. Yes. We're just a little bit farther in the journey, so they can come and also do it too. But the key comes in is, are you tired of shutting down and going numb? That's the first question. Are you tired of it? Are you sick of it? Are you ready for a change?
How sick and tired are you of shutting down?
Right. I mean, because if it still works for somebody, then people may do it their whole lives, because that's what they've had to do. My dad had to do that. He, especially after coming back from Vietnam, and he just drank. Right. He used alcohol to help shut down and go numb.
Absolutely.
And he was not going to go there and not touch that. So there are some people that don't want to, and they're not ready, and that's your free will choice. We're here to help talk to the ones that would like to open up again, instead of shutting down and go numb. But how about feel and be very aware and make the positive choices that you want, the enhancing choices, the choices that come from your heart's desires. And in doing that, you are going to be living so much more vibrantly. You're going to feel a lot more. And sometimes that's
it can
scary.
Get a little dicey in the beginning.
Yes.
You're like, I'm so used to not what is going on.
Right.
What are these things that are happening to my body? What is going on?
Yeah.
And then gradually, for some of us, a whole bunch of intensity, and then stepping forward gradually into getting curious, being open and curious. What is this? How can I name this experience? Oh, this is a feeling, and it is called grief. And we welcome it in and process it through the tools that you mentioned. And then we can move into, I feel so much lighter and freer, and welcome yourself into that new way of being.
Exactly. Because we were taught to avoid things, to block things, to go numb.
And on the other side of that, feeling and then expanding and just operating in a whole new way. And those feelings flush through you faster and faster. There may be a lot of density in the beginning, and then it opens up.
Right, where it can get easier. And it is important to get support. So we definitely highly recommend people to get support. So that's why there's therapists, there's, counselors, there's, like we're psychic facilitators, guides, mediums. You do mediumship work, and I do too, actually. I call it more spiritual connections, that we offer our spiritual gifts. And there are others that can do that too. And you do have the answers within you, and make sure you have the supports. That's a whole nother piece. In order to let go of shutting down and going numb, and instead, so we'll be the opposite of shutting down, expanding. So now, if you'd like to expand and actually feel, ooh, what a new way of being. Isn't that nice, huh? Even you can just play with this. Ooh, today we're talking about, do you shut down and go numb when things get hard? This is Ginger Clark. She loves helping people with this, and so do I. And just being able to admit, okay, all right, so I shut down and go numb sometimes. It's a reactive response that I learned as a child for me to protect myself and to feel safe enough. I was too scary to have all those feelings. It was too scary to expose myself, to be seen. Even the fear of being seen was a huge one for me. And then now I'm very comfortable being seen. Look at this. We can be seen now. How funny is that?
It's so great.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. What a shift.
Yeah, right? Because you can. That's the whole point, is we can change. And we can use everything we did learn as a contrast to help us in this expansion. So that's actually what all that is there for us for, is in the expansion. And then feelings, which means our energy and motion, which is our, what we're sensing, what feels right for you. It's all that connection. We have a knowingness within us. We do. We have a guide. We have our own North Star within our own stuff. We actually are a star.
And a lot of the times that emotion, and as you just said, energy and motion, is in that keeping us safe, is hiding ourselves from ourselves.
Exactly.
So we have all of this stuff, just years covering up. And we reach a point, they say death comes for us all, and I say life comes for us all, right? We reach a point where we go, oh my gosh, things have gotten so hard and so much contrast. And as you mentioned before the break, the sick and tired. And you reach a point of being sick and tired, and you just want to blast out of that space, and you want to come out of hiding. And what happens next in the emotion and the feeling? And you were talking about feeling expanded, and to reach that expansion, we've got to take the step forward, process out of the contraction, and reach into expansion. And you were also talking about my levels of feeling, because of working in guiding people, connecting with them. I can actually embody a lot of what they're experiencing and feel it in my own body. And it took a long time for me to figure out, this isn't all of mine. So on one hand, the pro is that I could connect very easily with people. And when I said I feel you, I literally meant I feel you, because I could feel what someone else was going through. And then I reached a time where I thought it was such a curse to have this and be, because it's just a lot of emotion and a lot of feeling going through my body. And that was another way that I would shut down, because it was just too much, too out of control feeling, right? Because I just felt like I was on this massive roller coaster that I could not get a handle on. Floods of tears. And then I would have to reach out. But then I also didn't know how to. I didn't know how to explain it. So it's very important to find the right kind of help as well, and someone that can explain to you what you are experiencing, right? The right type of guide. And finding that was a huge battle. And then once I did, and understanding, ooh, I'm picking up on somebody else's stuff. That's what this is. And learning how to ask, is this mine? Is this someone else's? And that happened greatly. And I think that experience happens far more than what we realize or what we've been taught. Mm-hmm. And again, getting back in touch with yourself and the relationship with the self, having the awareness to know where you are, asking those questions to be able to shift it.
Yeah. No, it's huge. And even as you're saying that with the shutdown and going numb, I'm even feeling, even when I was little girls, I was so sensitive to feeling everybody else's stuff, because as children we do. And animals do it too. Animals are wonderful. Horses, dogs, cats, they feel all of our energy too. That might have been times that we had to shut down and go numb, because it was just too much, especially if it was safe. Scary. Right. If you're in an environment that you didn't feel safe, it was scary. It was unpredictable, chaotic. That we literally, and this is all done subconsciously. So we're not saying we consciously chose to do this many times. Yeah, it was all in the mechanisms for us, for our survival.
And that's how these patterns are created. Yes. And these programs are created.
Yeah. Yes. Just actually, and then that means getting out of your heart, out of your body, up into your mind, up into your brain, really your brain, but your mind, you're into the logical parts. Yeah. Into just trying to basically break things apart into compartmentalize. You'll just compartmentalize stuff out. Or like what I did, I tucked those emotions away. So whatever I was feeling, I don't like feeling that. We're just not going to feel that. We're going to ignore it. I'm going to use denial, numbness. It was avoiding, things like that. These are all survival mechanisms that did serve us. They were what was necessary. And that's a gift too, when you actually can honor yourself, recognize yourself. We're all courageous. We're all doing exactly what we need to do right now. The key comes in, are you courageous enough to step into the new changes? So are you ready? It's more of ready. Are you ready to expand? Are you ready to be in a new way? Are you ready to feel and let what feels right for you move you now? Or what doesn't feel right, then you say no, and you have very clear boundaries, and you can easily, right?
So talk a little bit to me about expansion and what that feels like in very basic terms. If I'm someone, you and I are having this conversation and we keep, sort of having this open body language, what does it feel? What does it mean to be expanded and to operate from that space?
Ooh, oh, I love it. Well, for me, because I love being like a kid. So for me to expand, one means I connect back into, I allow myself to become childlike again, to be innocent again. And it's really just a switch of letting go of the fears. If you can literally transmute and disconnect from any kind of fear or limitation or any control of stuff, and instead expansion is meant to be is freedom. It's freedom. Expansion, I would say, equals freedom. So are you able to allow yourself to become free, to have freedom? Freedom in your choices, freedom in your feelings, freedom in your guidance. So I love the gift of, it's like a hinge point of, expanding down. You have your lower densities that are all about fear, and then the expansion is your connection with your love, because connection of your love is your freedom. And what we mean by that is pure love, unconditional love. A lot of us were taught conditioned love. I'll love you if you have to be this way. If you're this way, then I'll love you. Or if you do this for me, you have to show up in certain ways. Or if you do this for me, then I love you. It's conditioned love.
That needed.
Yeah. Instead of, wow.
Just as you are.
Just as you are. How about you love all parts of yourself, even the parts you're still growing in, the parts that you're still figuring out, the parts you don't even know about yet. Are you able to, because the highest level, we are love, meaning you are light. You are a light being, a spiritual being that is eternal, and energy never can ever get, completely destroyed at all. It could just morph and change and recycle. Energy is energy. And it's scientifically been shown that we are energy beings, and we get to decide what vibration we're going to be in.
So if we are operating in that, is freedom considered a vibration?
It is. It's a higher vibration. Totally. So because you would say the opposite. What's freedom versus restriction, right? You got restriction is restriction, freedom is freedom. We put words to meaning. We create meaning to things and we put words to things here. And that's, helps us interpret to learn and grow and to understand, to experience here, right? So the word freedom, is very open, right? Versus restricted. Get down there, And there's a time to have order and restrictions. So there's a time for everything. Like having a house, it's nice to have structures and foundations, and that's a bit of a restriction, of complete flow of just the wind blowing through your home, right? You're going to want to have walls up, and you're going to have
right.
So there's a time to have order. It's called order. So you bring order in. The universe is run on sacred geometry, basically numbers. We bring numbers in to the whole mix of things, but it's more of everything is in order. Everything is on purpose. Everything has a timing. And what expansion offers is flow. So the flow state is when it's like a sine wave state. So you might have very high love, joy times, and you may go down into sad times. It's okay. Those are feelings. Are you allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling while also allowing yourself to flow with whatever you're feeling? You can be expansive and still dive down into, feeling a bit of shame or guilt or sadness or fear.
But when you are expanded, you move through those lower level vibrations faster.
Right, exactly. So you may contract down into that sadness and get really, really sad and fully feel it as a human.
Right.
But you're not it. It's just a contracted part of your love.
You are love. Energy.
It's an energy that's contracting or slowing down. You can call it it's slowing down. It's a slowing down of energy. It's going slower versus an expanded is a faster energy. It's a flowing, just like when you get excited, people start talking faster and they start moving fast and you're like, woo, you get lots of energy.
Yes. Yes. Enthusiasm.
Right. And the gift comes in the balance, a nice spot many people can tap into. It's in a more expanded energy is that acceptance, when you can accept what is, when you can become the witness to things, and that's raising your level of awareness, when you can actually be aware, where you can actually recognize stuff going on and go noticing your own self, like, wow, my own self is having these thoughts. My own self is having these feelings. My own self is moving in this way or talking in this way. Wow, I just really said that. When you say something and you kind of surprise yourself for why I said that, you're like, I actually really just said that. Yeah. Well, what part of you is recognizing all that? Isn't that a nice question?
Absolutely.
Welcome. That's your true essence. Yes, that's your true essence. That is who you really are, is the witnessee of it all. That you are the divine being, the spirit that is witnessing all of it. And you do get your free will choices. And that's what's and we're going to continue to expand in this consciousness. Everything is continuing to expand. Our feelings are a very important part because we are physical beings that are meant to have a sensory.
Part of being a human.
It's part of being a human. We get to feel things that others in other aspects of our beautiful galactic universe don't need to feel shame or guilt or fear in the higher dimensions. No, they've actually mastered it. Fifth dimensional and higher. That's how it's at.
And this goes back to our choice. We chose to be human.
Yes, to feel
this human experience, which means feeling. Right. And then all the glorious things as well.
Yes.
Tasting strawberry ice cream, right? Feeling these lower level density energies as well as the higher ones.
Exactly. And the sensory, and that's another part, even with the sexual parts with the man and woman. We'll swing all back to that one again. Talk about the sensory, being intimate with somebody where you are making love. We call it making love, right? Being very intimate where, the masculine goes into the feminine and she receives into that complete oneness with that. Are you able to actually have every cell in your body experience all of that, the sensory, and open to just experiencing that flow, that beingness, right? Or is there a bit of shutting down or going numb when things get hard? And things can get hard. That
absolutely.
Little guide part can get hard.
Yeah.
And then are there parts within us that shut down? It's okay. Those are just the parts that we had hurtful experiences, or we had some wounding, or we had places that we had to shut off on. Those are the parts that are the ones that need the most love. The gift comes in is just being able to recognize it. And we ask this question: do you shut down and go numb when things get hard? We got Ginger Clark here. We've been having so much fun. We're wrapping up the last little bit here.
So in closing,
exactly.
What would you like to share, Mary?
Yeah, I know. Oh, so for mine is As I feel for you who's listening today, I've been there too. And it is so worth it that if you are shutting down and going numb, it's okay. It's just what you've had to do. But do you want to still stay there? That's a better question to ask. How long do you want to still be shutting down and going numb? And how um, is it are you courageous enough? Is really what it is.
And you are.
Of course.
You absolutely are.
Oh, heck yeah. And are you willing to at least...
And you're willing.
Yeah, really. To realize that you can actually go on the other end of it. You don't have to shut down and go numb anymore. No, you don't. You actually can expand and feel the love of who you are.
And the peace and the freedom of who you really are.
Exactly. Yeah. And in time, enjoy all of it and eventually laugh about the things that you've actually went through, or have deep compassion for yourself and for others, and be able to hold great space, sacred space for others who have had to go through that too. It's just a timing of things. And we are all being called to let go of shutting down and going numb, and instead welcoming ourselves into our hearts, connecting with our heart of our love, of our true essence of who we are, into feeling again, and to having the courage and the willingness to stand in our power of who we are and activate that power. Speak our truth from our love and our knowingness. And in that, you'll be amazed at things that can shift for you.
Absolutely.
So how about for you? What is your biggest point here with, because you have also continued to expand.
It's just so good on the other side. That's what I'm going to say. I've definitely been in the trenches, and I've been on the other side of the trenches, and it's way better over here, y'all. So just step into the expansion. Just get to the good part.
Yes, exactly. And that's it.
And there is a good part.
Yeah, and just begin. Like you say, just begin. Just be willing to. Woo! Yeah. So with that, we'll offer what is a great way that people can get a hold of you, Ginger, because I know you do massive work. We just did today with a woman that just her life is going to be completely changed. I'm in awe about it all. Yeah. Yay! With your beautiful spiritual gifts that you offer. Thank you. Yeah, you hold great space because you have been through the trenches and you have resurrected yourself from it, really. And you've liberated yourself, and you know who you are, and you can shine your light and your love. And yeah, it's so precious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you can reach me on my Instagram. It is at Miss Ginger Clark, MSGingerClark.
Thank you. Thank you. And then people can get a hold of me at igniteandhealyourlife.com. And with that, I am offering new things. I am a certified Psyche instructor, so I do love that. That's how we met. You came to my online workshop, and then
she's an instructor. I'm a facilitator.
Yes. And I'm a facilitator too. But I will do the teaching too. And then you came to the in-person, which is great. And then you went to the advanced, and woo-wee! I know. Wow. Yes. So I am offering workshops. You can go to my website to check for that. I'm having one this weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Isn't there retreats?
Oh, yes, exactly. So check my website for the Psyche workshops, Grand Rapids, Michigan in June. But yeah, and also my spirit, like we do, because in this expansion and emotions, my spirit's saying, well, how about we create some more stuff? Okay. And because I can. And there's people that I love, dear friends of mine, that we're coming together. And this is more of that feminine energy running, where we are doing things as a collective and as a community. So there's 3 other ones. There's 4 of us doing what's called authentic circles of connection. So if you love to more deeply connect with yourself again, instead of shutting down, it's a massive game changer. We're using the medicine.
Change game too.
Yeah, that's the game too. And I help change makers. So there you go. But and that's the end of this month in May 30th, June 1st. Check my website on that. And then also my girlfriend, Kristen Lacey, an old friend of mine, she was a birth nurse, I was a birth nurse. She was a midwife and a doula, and we used to love helping mamas have babies in the middle of the night. And then now she loves helping with horses, with horse therapy. Wow. And isn't that amazing? Because the horses, her dream was to have a horse. Her husband at the time bought her horse when she was 40, and it literally changed her life. And then all the sadness and sorrows and stuff, when she was with the horse helped her with doing what we're doing. Instead of shutting down and go numb, the horses helped her expand and feel again. So there's lots of ways that we can help people. So that's the end of June 28th to 30th. We're going to do, it's called Nurture and Nurse Your Soul. And it's a women's retreat. We're starting with just a women's retreat. Eventually we'll expand and let the men in, which we love you men. But we're going to begin with the women first because we can.
Yeah.
And then I'll be offering breath work, sound bowl healing, because I do that too. And also Qigong. I love Qigong. We're going to offer very practical ways that you can do things as a human.
So there's just a whole plethora.
There's a whole plethora. If you can ever imagine, there's all kinds of things to help you. Do you realize that? Yeah. There really is. And beautiful. It's all in your free will choice of when you're ready. And you just got to ask yourself, am I ready? Am I ready for the changes? And am I willing to take the step to begin to make those changes? And this is where the invitation comes in. And just say, you know what? And this is already a full moon coming tomorrow night, which is woo! And Sagittarius. Yes.
Absolutely.
Which is the completion. This is the completion cycle of stuff and beginning new ways. So just let yourself say, yeah, you know what? Whatever you're done with and completed, say, yeah, I'm done with that. I've completed that. And I choose to step into my new way, step into expanding, into feeling and letting my heart guide me for what feels right for me, that I can say yes or no to, and go do and be, feel and live in your true essence of who you are, the love of who you are.
Yes.
Good.
What are you ready to complete, people?
Woo! Yeah, and then begin anew. Yes. All right. Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. I am Mary Mazur, and this is Ginger Clark.